In 1941, America faced an impossible problem. With millions of soldiers preparing to fight across icy Arctic islands and steamy tropical jungles, they had no place ready for them to live. Imagine needing to build entire cities overnight, right in the heart of a world at war, armed only with a few tools and a small crew. How do you create shelter that's quick to assemble, durable enough to survive brutal weather, and portable to ship anywhere on the globe? The stakes were enormous. Lives depended on finding a solution fast. The gears of war turn relentlessly. America mobilizes on an unprecedented scale, transforming factories, shipyards, and farmlands into a vast war machine. Millions of men enlist, ships churn across the oceans, and planes roar into the skies, all signaling a nation ready to project power across two vast oceans. Behind the scenes, a complex puzzle is unfolding. Arming troops is one thing, but housing them? That's a challenge unlike any other. The country braces itself, knowing the fight ahead will stretch from the frozen Aleutians to the steamy jungles of the Pacific, demanding endless resources and unshakable resolve. As America prepared for war, a hidden crisis emerged beneath the surface. The military's existing shelters were painfully inadequate. Soldiers needed more than just a roof. They needed protection from brutal elements and enemy fire. Traditional barracks demanded too much lumber and time, and tents offered little shelter from deadly storms and relentless combat conditions. Without proper housing, the entire war effort risked unraveling. An army without shelter isn't an army at all. This urgent problem silently threatened to derail a conflict that depended on speed, efficiency, and resilience. The stakes were clear. Survival hinged on finding a better way. As America prepared for war, the military took a hard look at how to house millions of soldiers fast. Traditional wooden barracks, once a reliable choice, fell short in every critical way. They were too heavy to transport easily, guzzled vast amounts of precious lumber, and simply couldn't be built quickly enough to keep pace with the escalating demands. The logistics nightmare they posed threatened to stall the entire mobilization effort. Simply put, conventional buildings just wouldn't cut it in a conflict that required speed, efficiency, and global reach. The military realized they needed a radically different approach, something lighter, faster, and smarter. Tents might seem like a simple solution, but in the harsh realities of war, they offered little protection. Artillery shells tore through them, monsoons turned camps into muddy swamps, blizzards froze anyone caught inside, and diseases thrived in their damp confines. They were barely shelters at all, exposing soldiers not just to the enemy's fire, but to the relentless, unforgiving forces of nature itself. In these brutal environments, mere canvas and poles just wouldn't cut it. In the brutal environments where this war will be fought, exposure becomes as deadly as any enemy soldier. The freezing cold, relentless monsoons, and unyielding heat aren't just discomforts, they are killers. Survival depends on more than just fighting skill. It hinges on shelter that can shield soldiers from the merciless elements. Without proper housing, the Army's strength could crumble long before it faces the battlefield. This isn't about luxury, it's about life and death. The military urgently needs a solution that offers protection, mobility, and quick construction, because when nature itself is a relentless adversary, the line between safety and disaster blurs. The military's cry for a new kind of building was urgent and unmistakable, something portable, durable, and weather-resistant, made for mass production on a staggering scale. This wasn't just about shelter, it was about survival. With millions heading to battlefields, scattered from frozen islands to tropical jungles, speed and reliability were non-negotiable. The challenge was clear: create a modular structure that could be shipped anywhere, assembled by untrained hands, using simple tools. Traditional methods had failed the test of war, and now innovation needed to rise to the occasion fast, efficient, and relentless. This demand set the wheels in motion for a building that would change everything. Before the attack on Pearl Harbor shook the nation, the U.S. Navy was already racing against time, searching desperately for a solution to a critical problem. Their eyes landed on a curious design imported from across the Atlantic, the British Nissen Hut. Born out of World War I, this semi-cylindrical structure seemed promising. Simple, utilitarian, with a curved steel frame that offered strength and ease of assembly. But as American engineers examined it closely, doubts crept in. The Nissen Hut was clever, yes, but complicated, with too many parts and details that didn't match the speed and scale that America's industrial might demanded. It was a starting point, a spark, but America knew it needed something even better, something tailored to its own unique war machine. American planners took a hard look at the British Nissen Hut, a semi-cylindrical shelter from World War I, but they quickly spotted critical flaws. It was overly complicated, packed with too many individual parts that slowed down assembly. Worse, its design clashed with America's industrial muscle, too intricate for the rapid, high-volume production lines gearing up behind the scenes. In a war where speed and simplicity meant survival, this old model just wouldn't cut it. The challenge was clear. The U.S. needed a building as tough and efficient as its military might, something stronger, simpler, and custom-made for mass production. The verdict is clear. America's military needs more than just a quick fix. The existing options, wooden barracks and flimsy tents, won't cut it. They require something stronger, something simpler, designed from the ground up to harness the full power of American industry. This new structure must be fast to produce, easy to ship, and straightforward enough that a small, untrained team can assemble it anywhere, under any condition. It's not just about shelter, it's about survival on a global scale. The clock is ticking, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The mission landed squarely on the shoulders of the George A. Fuller Company, a civilian contractor uniquely positioned right at the Naval Air Station in Quonset Point, Rhode Island. This wasn't just any contract, it was a call to innovate under pressure, a race against time and necessity. Charged with designing a building that could be shipped easily, assembled quickly, and withstand the harsh realities of war, they knew failure wasn't an option. The stakes were enormous. Provide shelter for millions of soldiers scattered across the globe, from frozen Arctic fronts to tropical swamps, all while the gears of war kept turning without mercy. The question wasn't just how to build fast, it was how to build smart. The mission was clear and urgent. Create a building that was not only lightweight and portable, but so simple that anyone, even those with no construction experience, could assemble it quickly, armed only with basic hand tools. This wasn't just about shelter, it was about survival on a massive scale. Speed, efficiency, and ease of assembly would make or break this effort. The military needed a solution that could be packed flat, shipped across oceans, and erected almost instantly by small crews, no matter where the war took them. Every detail mattered because millions of lives hinged on getting this right. The engineers at Quonset Point were caught in a race against the clock. Every sketch, every model, and every heated debate carried the weight of millions of lives. The pressure was immense. There was no room for mistakes, no time for second guesses. They knew the designs they developed today would become the shelter for countless soldiers facing the world's harshest conditions. Ideas flew back and forth as they pushed the limits of creativity and practicality. They were determined to create something lightweight yet strong, simple yet durable, something that could be shipped across oceans and assembled by hands untrained in construction. This frenzied collaboration would soon birth a design shaped by necessity and destined to change the course of military housing forever. From the chaos of ideas and frantic sketches, a spark of genius suddenly takes shape. The team zeroes in on a design that's striking in its simplicity, a perfect half-cylinder. This bold shape isn't just aesthetic, it's functional, resting on a skeleton of strong, arched steel ribs that give it both flexibility and strength. The curved form cleverly distributes weight and resists harsh weather, turning what was once a logistical nightmare into a promising solution. This innovation promises rapid assembly and durability, forging a new path forward in wartime construction. For the skin, they turn to corrugated steel sheets, lightweight, inexpensive, and tough. These sheets could be easily bolted onto the arched ribs, snapping into place without fuss. This choice wasn't just practical, it was ingenious. Corrugated steel added strength without weight, allowing the structure to resist wind and rain while staying easy to transport. In the chaos of war, simplicity was power. The team knew every bolt and every panel had to withstand harsh weather and rough handling, yet remain easy to assemble by soldiers with little training. This steel skin was the shell that would protect millions. What truly set the Quonset Hut apart was its incredible simplicity in installation. Unlike traditional buildings that demanded heavy, time-consuming foundations, this design required none at all. Builders could assemble it on basic timber footings or even place it straight on the ground. This meant no digging, no pouring concrete, just quick, sturdy shelter wherever it was needed. In the chaos of war, this straightforward approach saved precious time and resources, turning raw spaces into livable homes with astonishing speed. The ground itself became the base, while the curved steel shell bore the stresses, proving that sometimes less really is more. The genius of the Quonset Hut lies in its shape. This graceful half-cylinder isn't just visually striking, it's a masterstroke of engineering. Its curved design distributes stress evenly, giving it remarkable strength to shrug off howling winds and crushing snow loads. Without the need for bulky supports or complicated foundations, this simple arch becomes a fortress of resilience in the face of nature's fury. It's an elegant, practical answer to a brutal problem: how to build fast, strong, and light shelters that can stand firm wherever war drags them. In mid-1941, the first Quonset Hut prototype rose from the ground, a simple structure, 16 feet wide and 36 feet long. The team watched intently as the steel ribs took shape, curving smoothly into that perfect half-cylinder form. Every bolt, every corrugated steel sheet clicked into place. It wasn't just a building, it was the physical answer to an impossible challenge, forged with urgency and precision. In less than a day, what once was a sketch transformed into a sturdy shelter, promising to protect countless soldiers from the brutal elements of war. This was just the beginning. Imagine everything needed to build a shelter: steel ribs, corrugated sheets, bolts, all neatly packed flat inside a single, compact crate. This wasn't just efficient, it was revolutionary. Shipping bulky buildings? Impossible. But shipping a flat-packed kit? Game-changing. When it arrived, soldiers or engineers could unpack and transform this simple package into a sturdy, weatherproof shelter faster than you could imagine. No heavy machinery, just hand tools and teamwork. This clever design laid the groundwork for a new kind of construction, portable, fast, and ready to meet the urgent demands of a world at war. The clock was ticking, but this crew had never built one before. With hands steady and movements focused, they tackled each piece, bolt, and panel. In less than a day, the skeleton of steel ribs and corrugated sheets came alive, a complete Quonset Hut, standing strong and true. It was more than just a structure. It was proof that simplicity and smart design could turn impossible challenges into swift victories. This staggering success wasn't just a build, it was a breakthrough, setting the stage for a new era in military construction. They gave it a name that echoed its origin, Quonset Hut. Born from a place of urgency and innovation, this simple half-cylinder stood as an elegant answer to a brutal necessity. No frills, no extravagance, just a tough, lightweight shelter that could be shipped anywhere and assembled by anyone. It was more than a building. It was hope in steel, shaped by need and ready to serve on the front lines of a world at war. The initial triumph of the Quonset Hut was undeniable, a sleek, efficient shelter ready for war. But as the military examined its practicality, a glaring issue surfaced. The 1 6-foot-wide design was simply too narrow. Critical operations like hospitals and command centers demanded more space. This insight forced a pivotal rethink. The Quonset couldn't remain just a simple barracks. It had to evolve into a versatile building block capable of fitting a wide range of military needs. This revelation transformed the mission from crafting a basic shelter into engineering a universal solution, setting the stage for the Quonset Hut's next dramatic leap forward. The mission scope suddenly expands. What started as a simple barracks design now must become so much more a universal building block for an entire military base. The military isn't just asking for shelter for soldiers anymore. They need flexible, multi-purpose structures that can serve as hospitals, command centers, mess halls, and more. This means the design must evolve rapidly, growing wider and stronger without losing the simplicity and speed of assembly that made the original Quonset Hut such a breakthrough. It's a critical turning point. A single steel shell must now carry the hopes of an entire war effort, adapting to every challenge thrown its way. The engineers didn't waste a moment. They quickly refined their design, pushing the boundaries of what the Quonset Hut could be. The first major upgrade? Widening the structure to 20 feet. This wasn't just a tweak. It transformed the hut from a simple shelter into something far more versatile. More room meant it could now comfortably serve as a command post, a medical station, or even a workshop. Rapid innovation was crucial. Every inch of space meant new possibilities on the battlefield. With this improved width, the Quonset Hut was stepping up to meet the growing demands of a global war, ready to become a cornerstone of military infrastructure. The team didn't stop at just meeting the initial demands. They audaciously pushed the design further. Now, envision a massive 40-foot-wide version, a true giant among its peers. This innovation wasn't just about size, it was about versatility. Suddenly, this steel half-cylinder could transform into warehouses holding vital supplies, chapels offering solace amid chaos, and full-sized hospitals saving countless lives. Each variant was a game-changer, a testament to engineering adaptability meeting military necessity. With these expanded possibilities, the Quonset Hut evolved from a simple shelter to an essential, multifunctional backbone of the war effort. With a design now proven and versatile, the Navy wasted no time. Massive orders flooded in, ready to transform Quonset Huts from a clever idea into a cornerstone of the war effort. Factories geared up, assembly lines hummed, and the floodgates of production burst wide open. Suddenly, what started as a small prototype was about to become a mass-produced, unstoppable force, a building system that could be shipped anywhere, assembled by anyone, and stand strong in the toughest conditions imaginable. The stage was set for an unprecedented logistical revolution as America officially steps into World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor. its industrial heart races faster than ever. Factories that once focused on cars and consumer goods pivot overnight, their assembly lines roaring to life with a new mission. Steel cuts, welding sparks, and hammer strikes fill the air as these factories churn out Quonset huts by the tens of thousands. Each kit, meticulously crafted and standardized, is a promise, a lifeline for troops scattered across distant battlefields. The sheer scale is staggering. These huts aren't just buildings, they're symbols of American resolve, ready to be packed, shipped, and assembled anywhere the war demands. The production surge marks a turning point, where industrial might meets battlefield necessity in perfect harmony. This isn't just construction, it's a revolution in military logistics. Imagine a giant metal Lego set, where every piece fits perfectly, no matter where it's made or who's putting it together. These huts come in flat-packed kits, designed for speed and efficiency. Factories across the country, from car plants in Detroit to steel mills in Pittsburgh, turn out interchangeable parts by the thousands. This standardization means that whether you're building a base in a swampy Pacific island or a frozen European battlefield, the pieces snap together fast, giving soldiers immediate shelter and support. It's not just building, it's a game changer for war itself. Standardization means any factory in the country, from a car plant in Detroit to a steel mill in Pittsburgh, could churn out identical, interchangeable parts. This wasn't just about efficiency. It was about creating a building system so versatile and reliable that wherever you were, whatever tools or skills you had, assembly would be seamless and fast. Suddenly, the Quonset Hut wasn't just a design, it was a production marvel, a symbol of American industrial might, ready to be deployed anywhere in the world. Each kit was like a giant metal Lego set, perfectly engineered for mass manufacture and rapid deployment. In 1942, the Quonset Hut faced its first true test amid the fierce battles of Guadalcanal. As U.S. Marines stormed the beaches, crates of these innovative shelters arrived on supply ships, ready to be assembled. On rugged, war-torn islands, these lightweight kits could be unpacked and erected swiftly by unskilled crews, turning barren shores into functioning military bases almost overnight. This wasn't just about building structures, it was about creating a lifeline, a refuge, and a symbol of American resilience in the heart of the Pacific Theater. The Quonset Hut was proving it could deliver where traditional methods had faltered, setting the stage for a logistical revolution. On islands stripped to bare earth by relentless combat, these simple kits become a lifeline. Seabees and Army engineers work feverishly, transforming crates of metal into sturdy, sheltering bases almost overnight. This isn't just building, it's a race against time, nature, and enemy fire. Where once there was nothing but mud and chaos, emerges order and protection. The Quonset Hut's modular design proves its worth, standing strong amid adversity. It's a silent promise to every soldier arriving on these contested shores, a roof overhead, a chance to rest, regroup, and fight another day. This logistical miracle gave American forces a staggering strategic advantage, turning scant jungle clearings and battered shorelines into instant military hubs. But the burning question remained: how would this humble metal shell hold up against the relentless brutality of the Pacific Theater? Would its steel ribs withstand monsoon winds, scorching heat, and the ever-present threat of enemy fire? The answer was yet unwritten, as these curved shelters faced their ultimate test amid the chaos and harshness of war's fiercest front. While opposing forces often scramble to dig crude shelters or cling to vulnerable captured buildings, the U.S. military flips the script entirely. They build instant, durable steel towns from scratch anywhere in the world. These aren't just makeshift camps. They're engineered for speed and strength, rising swiftly out of dust, mud, and sand. With every curved roof and bolted panel, these Quonset huts become shining beacons of American ingenuity and resilience amidst chaos. Solid, reliable, and ready for battle, their steel frames define a new kind of military presence, turning hostile landscapes into well-organized bases almost overnight. From the mud and sand, structures rise in a matter of days. Barracks, command posts, chapels, and sterile operating rooms. These aren't just buildings, they're lifelines, springing up swiftly on barren battlefields. The once desolate terrain transforms into bustling hubs of activity and refuge, proving that speed and efficiency in construction can tip the scales of war. Each Quonset hut stands as a testament to human ingenuity, simple, sturdy, and vital, bringing shelter and hope to soldiers far from home. For the soldiers arriving in these desolate, hostile landscapes, those curved steel roofs were more than just shelter. They were a beacon, a bold symbol of American resilience and ingenuity. Amid the chaos and uncertainty of war, seeing a Quonset hut standing firm meant safety, order, and a touch of home. It was a powerful reminder that behind every mission was a nation's promise to protect and endure, giving weary troops a glimmer of hope in the heart of battle. In the midst of war's chaos, the Quonset hut became more than just a building. It stood as a beacon of American industrial strength. There, amid uncertainty and danger, this simple half-cylinder promised safety to weary soldiers. It brought immediate order where disorder reigned. For those arriving on hostile fronts, it wasn't just shelter, it was a lifeline, a symbol of stability forged from the nation's unmatched production power. In those curved steel walls, hope found a home, a quiet assurance that even in the heart of conflict, there was a place to stand firm. For millions of young men, stepping into a Quonset hut for the first time was more than just finding shelter. It was like opening the door to a new chapter of their lives. These curved steel structures, simple yet sturdy, became their first real home away from everything familiar. Inside those metal walls, amidst the echoes of distant battles and the constant hum of war, soldiers found a rare sense of normalcy. They shared stories, forged friendships, and built memories within those humble huts, small sanctuaries offering a glimpse of comfort amid the chaos. In a world ripped apart by conflict, the Quonset hut stood as a steadfast symbol of safety and the unyielding human spirit. Life inside these huts was far from luxurious. The rain pounding on the corrugated steel roof created a deafening metallic roar, relentless and unyielding. It was a sound that defined their days and nights in this crude shelter, constant, intense, sometimes almost unbearable. But beneath that thunderous noise lay a crucial promise: protection, a solid roof overhead, guarding soldiers from the unforgiving elements outside. This was no cozy home. It was a refuge forged from necessity, echoing the harsh realities of war itself. The Quonset hut was rough, loud, but it was home for millions far from everything they knew. Without any modifications, these steel shelters turned into ovens, baking under the fierce Pacific sun, while in the freezing European winters, they became icy prisons, cold, unforgiving, and harsh. The unforgiving metal amplified every extreme, forcing soldiers to get creative. They scavenged for insulation wherever possible, transforming these bare shells into livable, if still humble, homes amid chaos. It wasn't luxury, but it was shelter, something solid and reliable in a world turned upside down. Soldiers didn't just accept the bare bones of the Quonset huts, they made them their own. With limited resources and relentless creativity, they insulated walls using whatever they could scavenge: old blankets, scrap wood, even newspaper. This wasn't about luxury, it was about survival. Their adaptations turned these metal shells from echoing tin cans into somewhat livable shelters, shielding them from the blistering heat and bone-chilling cold. Every improvised layer of insulation was a quiet act of defiance against the harsh realities of war, a testament to human resilience amid chaos. With scrap lumber in hand, soldiers crafted porches that extended their living spaces beyond the steel walls. Inside, vast hollow interiors were quickly partitioned into smaller, cozier rooms, turning cold metal shells into personalized sanctuaries. Each hut became a canvas for individual creativity and comfort, a place to hang pictures, store trinkets, or carve out a nook for quiet reflection. These personal touches transformed the Quonset huts from mere military structures into unexpected temporary homes, offering a sense of normalcy and belonging amid the chaos of war. Despite their flaws, these huts offered something invaluable: a sturdy roof overhead, a dry bed to rest on, and dependable shelter from relentless weather. In war zones where rain could soak through tents and cold could seep into flimsy shelters, the Quonset hut stood firm. It wasn't perfect rain thundered loudly on its steel shell, and heat could become oppressive, but it was a reliable sanctuary. Soldiers could finally sleep without fear of storms or the creeping cold, their spirits buoyed by the simple comfort of protection. In the chaos of war, sometimes survival hinged on having even this basic, steadfast refuge. The Quonset hut wasn't just metal and bolts. It quickly became the heart of military life. Inside those curved walls, soldiers found more than shelter. They found camaraderie. These huts transformed into bustling mess halls, where the clatter of dishes mixed with laughter and the sharing of hot meals. Stories traveled from distant hometowns, bridging the gap between battlefront and family. In the middle of uncertainty and hardship, the hut offered a precious sense of normalcy, a place to gather, recharge, and remember what they were fighting for. Its unmistakable shape was more than a building. It was a refuge, a symbol of unity in the chaos of war. Beyond their role as shelter, Quonset huts became vibrant hubs of morale, a place to catch a much-needed break from the relentless grind. Turned into makeshift theaters for USO shows, they brought performances, laughter, and a fleeting sense of normal life directly to soldiers on the front lines. Inside those curved steel walls, amidst the chaos and uncertainty of war, troops found moments of joy and connection, a reminder of the world waiting back home. It was more than just entertainment. It was a lifeline, a brief escape wrapped in the glow of stage lights, echoing with music and applause. Beyond their role as simple shelters, Quonset huts took on multiple identities in the midst of war. They became classrooms where soldiers trained, absorbing vital skills to survive and succeed on the battlefield. They also served as quiet chapels, small sanctuaries where weary troops could find a rare moment of peace and reflection amid the relentless storm of war. These humble, curved steel shells provided not just physical protection, but a space for learning and solace, reminders that even in chaos, order and comfort could be carved out. From the dense jungles of New Guinea to the windswept coasts of Normandy, the Quonset hut became more than just shelter. It was a steadfast companion for American forces worldwide. These curved steel structures sprouted like lifelines amid chaos, offering soldiers a reliable refuge against relentless weather and enemy fire. Wherever the troops marched, the huts followed, symbolizing not just survival, but a tangible piece of home in foreign lands. This ubiquitous presence shaped the battlefield's landscape, embodying the resilience and ingenuity that defined the American military effort. After D-Day in 1944, the Quonset huts flooded into France, trailing the relentless push of Allied forces across devastated Europe. These steel shelters became critical lifelines, rising rapidly amidst the chaos of war-torn cities and shattered landscapes. They shielded troops from icy winds and relentless rain during bitter campaigns, offering more than just cover. They provided hope and stability, a mobile backbone for the advancing armies. As bunkers and bombed-out buildings crumbled, the familiar curved roofs of Quonset huts sprang up like beacons, turning ravaged ground into organized bases almost overnight. This wasn't simply construction. It was a strategic revolution in how war was waged and won. As the bitter winter of the Battle of the Bulge descended, temperatures plummeted, and soldiers faced a frozen hell unlike any other. In the face of this relentless cold, the Quonset huts stood firm, offering critical shelter when it was needed most. These sturdy steel structures became lifelines, shielding countless troops from frostbite and hypothermia. Inside, the harsh winds were muted. Snow piled up around their curved roofs, but never breached their walls. In the midst of freezing misery, the huts provided a rare measure of warmth and safety, quiet havens amid the chaos of war, where soldiers could rest, regroup, and prepare for the brutal fight ahead. As the Pacific island hopping campaign surged forward, the Marines faced brutal, fierce resistance on every shore. At Tarawa, the stakes were life and death. Yet, where the soldiers landed, the Quonset huts were never far behind. These quick-assembly steel shelters arrived packed in crates, ready to be transformed into reliable bases. With every victory, engineers and Seabees worked swiftly, erecting the huts to provide essential cover and support. Suddenly, remote and hostile islands hosted entire forward operating post strongholds, crafted almost overnight, giving the American forces a critical edge in one of the war's most grueling theaters. On Eniwetok and neighboring atolls, the Quonset huts became the backbone of rapid construction efforts. Engineers wasted no time. These versatile steel shells were assembled swiftly to build airfields and essential support facilities. With the huts in place, the U.S. military could establish forward bases that pushed the war ever closer to Japan. This ability to erect durable infrastructure quickly turned the tide, providing shelter and operational hubs on remote islands stripped bare by conflict. In the vast Pacific expanse, speed and adaptability were everything, and the Quonset hut delivered both, becoming a silent hero of the island-hopping campaign. Speed is everything in war, and the Quonset hut delivered like nothing before. With kits arriving on supply ships, engineers could erect entire bases by the next day, transforming barren beaches into thriving hubs of American power. This lightning-fast construction was more than logistics. It was a strategic weapon, enabling airfields to pop up overnight, launching planes that would dominate the skies. In the fierce island battles and fast-paced advances, the Quonset hut became the backbone of an unstoppable war machine, turning raw material into shelter and strength at a pace that left enemies scrambling to keep up. By 1945, the production of Quonset huts had soared to its peak. Over 150,000 of these steel shelters had been built and sent across the globe, standing as a testament to American industrial power and ingenuity. From remote islands in the Pacific to war-torn towns in Europe, they provided critical shelter for millions of soldiers. These simple, half-cylinder structures weren't just buildings. They were symbols of a nation mobilized like never before. Every bolt and every sheet of corrugated steel carried with it a story of urgency, innovation, and survival in the crucible of war. Standing tall on every continent except Antarctica, Quonset huts became more than just buildings. They were a global emblem of American resilience and ingenuity. These simple, curved steel shelters weren't just about outfighting enemies. They embodied the nation's extraordinary ability to outbuild and outlast. Wherever they appeared, from the frozen tundras to sun-baked islands, the huts stood as silent sentinels of a determined force, ready to face any challenge. Their presence told a powerful story, that victory in war often depends not just on courage and weapons, but on the unyielding strength of innovation and logistics. The war has finally ended, leaving the world awash with a staggering surplus of military equipment, from tanks and planes to hundreds of thousands of Quonset huts. These humble steel structures, once lifelines to soldiers on distant battlefields, now stood silent, their purpose seemingly fulfilled. Designed for temporary use in times of crisis, the Quonset huts faced an uncertain future, threatened by the scrap heaps that awaited them. Yet, from the ruins of a global conflict, a new challenge was about to breathe unexpected life into these metal shells. Designed to be temporary, these Quonset huts seemed destined for the scrapyard. Their extraordinary service during the war had ended, and many believed they would fade into forgotten history. After years on battlefields and remote islands, their sturdy metal shells now stood silent, relics of a brutal conflict. It was easy to imagine them dismantled, melted down, replaced by the next new thing. Yet beneath the surface of this apparent end was the quiet pause before a surprising new chapter, one that would breathe life back into these humble structures, transforming their fate once again. As the war drew to a close, a new crisis loomed on the horizon. Millions of battle-hardened GIs poured back into an America unprepared for their return. The nation faced a staggering housing shortage, with families desperate for shelter in a world transformed by conflict. This wasn't just a problem, it was a looming disaster that threatened to unravel the fragile peace. The housing market, strained by years of wartime production focused elsewhere, simply couldn't keep pace with the flood of veterans seeking homes. It was a nation caught between victory abroad and urgent need at home, setting the stage for the humble Quonset hut to find a surprising new purpose. At the same time, the GI Bill was reshaping America's future, sending hundreds of thousands of veterans rushing to college campuses. But universities were bursting at the seams. Dormitories were full, classrooms overcrowded, and the demand far outpaced what campus housing could handle. Suddenly, these veterans fresh from battlefields across the world faced a new challenge. Where would they live when they arrived on campus? The urgent need for quick, affordable housing was impossible to ignore, and the solution would come from an unexpected place, transforming the post-war landscape in ways no one had imagined. After the war's end, the Quonset hut, once a mighty tool of military necessity, faced an uncertain future. Designed for temporary use, these steel shells seemed destined to fade into obscurity, leftovers of a conflict that had reshaped the world. Yet, as millions of veterans returned home, America confronted a new crisis, a housing shortage unlike any before. At the same time, universities overflowed with veterans eager to learn, but cramped for space. In this moment, the humble Quonset hut was called upon again, not as a war machine, but as a beacon of hope. Its simple, sturdy form was now transformed into makeshift dormitories, classrooms, and affordable homes, quietly supporting a generation rebuilding their lives, proof that even forgotten relics can rise to meet new challenges. Thousands of Quonset huts, once tools of war, found new life as military surplus. They were packed up and shipped by the hundreds to college campuses across the nation. These simple steel structures became sudden solutions to an urgent problem, housing the wave of returning veterans pursuing education under the GI Bill. Quickly assembled, they transformed barren lots into bustling hubs of student life. Dormitories, classrooms, and gathering spaces made from these huts sprang up overnight, offering affordable refuge and a sense of community. In an instant, former battle shelters became places of learning, hope, and fresh beginnings for an entire generation. These humble steel shells sprang up overnight, quickly transformed into makeshift dormitories, classrooms, and affordable homes for veterans and their young families. In a nation desperate for shelter, the Quonset huts became a lifeline, a sturdy roof, and 4 walls ready to hold dreams and futures. The clatter of hammers and laughter filled these halls as a generation that had faced war now faced rebuilding their lives. It wasn't luxury, but it was shelter, a place where hope could take root, and the difficult road home finally began. Across campuses from coast to coast, these communities sprang up almost overnight. Known as Vetsvilles or Fertile Acres, they became bustling, makeshift neighborhoods where returning veterans found more than just shelter. They found a foothold to rebuild their lives. Simple steel huts lined the grounds, hastily put up but sturdy enough to house thousands of young families. It wasn't glamorous, but it was home a tangible promise that after enduring the chaos of war, stability and hope awaited just beyond the battlefield. They weren't glamorous, far from it, but they were there when it mattered most. Affordable, accessible shelter for a generation scarred by war. For those who had survived the chaos of foxholes and the brutality of battle, these steel shells became a reassuring constant, a foothold in a world desperately seeking stability. In places often forgotten or overlooked, these humble Quonset huts offered a roof overhead and a space to begin rebuilding lives. It wasn't about luxury, it was about survival, community, and hope. For the veterans stepping into their post-war futures, that was everything. These unassuming steel shelters bore witness to a generation's transformation. Inside their curved walls, the raw potential of returned soldiers took root. Families found refuge, students found classrooms, and communities found new beginnings. These small steel homes weren't just buildings. They were the foundation for a nation rising from war's shadow, nurturing the dreams and resilience that would rebuild and reshape America's future. Beyond the campus, Quonset huts found new life in countless civilian roles. Their simple, durable design made them the perfect building blocks for a nation rebuilding after war. From diners and auto repair shops to community halls and small churches, these steel shells quietly anchored everyday life across America. Farmers turned them into barns, while war-torn countries from the Philippines to Europe adopted them as homes and schools, extending the hut's reach far beyond their original military purpose. The humble Quonset hut became a symbol of resilience and adaptability, showing how something built for war could help heal a shattered world. But the story of the Quonset hut didn't end when the war did. These sturdy steel shells found new lives in countless civilian roles, transforming into diners, where laughter mixed with the clatter of plates, auto repair shops filled with the scent of grease and gasoline, community halls echoing with local gatherings, small churches offering quiet solace, and barns sheltering farmers' tools and livestock. Their adaptability was remarkable, a testament to a design born in necessity but thriving in peace. Wherever you drove across post-war America, these humble huts stood as unwavering symbols of resilience and reinvention. In the aftermath of war, the Quonset huts didn't just vanish. They became woven into the very fabric of communities ravaged by conflict. From the shattered towns of Europe to the islands of the Philippines, these sturdy steel shelters found new life beyond the battlefield. They transformed into homes where families rebuilt their futures, and schools where children learned amid ruins. For decades, these humble huts stood as silent witnesses to resilience and recovery, proof that even the most unlikely structures can serve as beacons of hope in the darkest of times. The Quonset Hut, once a mere war machine, quietly shifted its identity after the guns fell silent. It became something more than steel and bolts, a symbol of peace rising from the ashes of conflict. Across a recovering nation, this simple half-cylinder embraced a new purpose. It stood as a testament to resilience, a shelter not just for soldiers, but for families rebuilding their lives. In its weathered walls lived stories of hope, healing, and the enduring strength of a country that refused to break. The Quonset Hut's transformation was proof that even tools forged for war could become beacons of peace. For veterans, the Quonset Hut wasn't just a building, it was a tangible reminder of the trials they faced and the camaraderie they shared. It stood as a steadfast relic of their service, a piece of home in a world forever changed by war. For civilians, these steel shelters symbolize something larger, a testament to American manufacturing might, ingenuity, and the nation's extraordinary ability to rise to any challenge. In every rusted curve and rivet, you could see the story of a country that could build not only weapons and machines, but also hope and shelter, even in the darkest times. Long after their intended lifespan, thousands of Quonset huts still stand today, fading, worn by time, sometimes rusty but defiantly enduring along quiet highways and on the edges of forgotten towns. They're weathered witnesses to a bygone era, standing solitary like old sentinels holding stories of sacrifice and resilience. Their simple steel curves echo a legacy far greater than their humble design, reminders that even the most unassuming structures can outlast wars and generations. These huts aren't just relics. They are living history, quietly narrating the incredible journey of a nation shaped by ingenuity born from necessity. These huts stand not just as metal structures, but as living history, quiet, stubborn monuments to a generation's sacrifice and ingenuity. Each dent and rust spot whispers stories of soldiers who found shelter, safety, and a fragment of home within their curved steel walls. They remind us of the resilience and creativity born from desperate times, a humble symbol that endures long after the guns fell silent. The Quonset Hut's impact didn't end with the war, it paved the way for the modern prefabricated and modular housing we see today. Its simple yet ingenious design sparked a revolution in how we think about building fast, efficient, and adaptable structures that can be assembled almost anywhere. Think about it, the idea of creating homes and buildings off-site, then transporting and putting them together piece by piece, owes a big debt to that humble half-cylinder steel shell born from wartime necessity. In many ways, the Quonset Hut's legacy lives on in every prefab home and modular office, a quiet but powerful reminder that true innovation often comes from solving urgent problems with practical, elegant solutions. This humble steel half-cylinder holds a deeper truth. Real innovation often emerges in times of crisis. Faced with an impossible challenge during war, a simple, practical solution was born not just to meet a fleeting need, but to become an enduring symbol embedded in America's landscape. From necessity sprang a design that changed the way we think about building, forever transforming military logistics and inspiring the future of prefabricated housing. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest legacies come not from grand monuments, but from the simplest, smartest ideas crafted under pressure. Sometimes, the simplest creations leave the deepest marks on history. The Quonset Hut stands as a testament to that truth. A modest, steel half-cylinder born from urgency and necessity during a time of war. yet enduring far beyond its original purpose. It wasn't just a shelter, it became a symbol of resilience, adaptability, and innovation. Its story invites us to look closer at the unassuming objects around us. What hidden tales of brilliance and survival might they be quietly holding, waiting for someone to uncover?